Thanks for tapping into New Era TV. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and smash the like button. It really helps the channel in many ways. And before you tap out, please share the video. Now let's get into this. VladTV sits down with Adam 22 on No Jumper and had a little over a 2-hour conversation on the Rolling 60s, Big U, and Brick Baby, Lil Durk's case, and more. Among the things they discussed, including Vlad TV's $100 channel subscription to get the YouTube game from his perspective. I don't know. I can't knock the hustle though. In discussing Lil Durk and his case during the sit down, Vlad bombs Durk. This was nasty work in my opinion, y'all. Adam and Vlad have made millions and millions of dollars off the black culture and its hip hop community. Some even believe they doing it under the guise of being cops. I mean, nothing for nothing, but a lot of situations be happening when, either or have people on their shows. That's neither here nor there, y'all. But respectfully, how are these two non-black men eating off the entire culture and then turn around and complain when someone in the culture don't want to mess with them no more? Let me not hold y'all. Check out this audio clip of Adam 22 and Vlad TV having a discussion about how they feel about Lil Durk and pretty much the black culture and the hip hop community.
Some artists look at us as a bit of a liability because they consider us to be too well researched, too, knowledgeable about what they might have going on. And then there are things that stem from that. Whereas, like, if they go on Shannon Sharp, they know I don't want to say it's going to be a total softball interview, but a lot of the stuff, Shannon Sharp doesn't know who your ops are. Realistically, Vlad and Adam are going to do enough research that we figure out who you beef with. And if we don't talk about it, it's because we artfully decided not to talk about it. And for a lot of these dudes, they don't really want to do an interview that's going to have that level of introspection into their lives and careers. And it kind of can fuck up relationships too. I interviewed Lil Durk in 2018. Me and you both have done content with him, had a cool relationship, and then it fell apart at a certain point.
Why did your relationship fall apart?
I feel like we just didn't talk after we did the interview in 2018. Keep in mind, his career was not necessarily in the hottest place at that time. And then I feel like we just interviewed a bunch of people who either were his direct ops or just maybe had things to say about him that weren't the best, doing the weekly podcast where we just talk about all the different drama and everything that people have going on. I feel like he probably at a certain point began to feel like, why would I go on this podcast if they're interviewing people that I specifically don't get along with, and not just big names that he doesn't get along with, but just whoever. We've done such deep content into Chicago that we're interviewing people that realistically probably don't have a ton going for them aside from, beefing with bigger name rappers in Chicago. And I feel like that can kind of close doors on you. But I guess my overall question is, when you look at the position that Durk is in now, I feel like me and you are both people that had cool relationships with him, and then the relationship fell apart over things that we consider kind of petty. And especially when I look at why you guys fell apart, which for the audience, if you don't know, Vlad accidentally included a clip of Durk talking about the fact that he was about to have a baby in an episode. He told you to edit it out. You forgot to edit it out, or forgot to tell your editor to edit. Your editor forgot to take it out. Right.
We told him to edit out, and then they asked. We edited out part of it, but they wanted more edited out.
Right. Oh. Okay.
And by the time we got to the rest of it, they felt it took us too long. But that to me was sort of silly because it's like, we've been around each other. We've had conversations off camera. I have no bad intentions for you.
Right. And to me, that's just some big-headed superstar rapper shit. Yeah. I'm going to be with you for 10 years over the fact that your editor forgot to take out an extra 15 seconds of the interview or whatever.
And it was about an upcoming baby. It wasn't even about I'm dissing my op's dead grandmother. And I really needed it out.
Right. It's not life or death.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's all right, the baby announcement came a little too soon, but that's not what we're even known for. We're not like Shade Room that's doing, our audience doesn't care about baby now.
Yeah, our audience, yeah, exactly.
Really does not
that's not really our thing anyway.
Yeah,
that's not the thing that's going to go viral.
But on 2 different songs, he's like, Vlad.
Yeah.
Just really, on 2 album songs, you got to say Vlad over that. Come on, man. You're letting your fame kind of cloud your judgment. I'm not your op. I've never said anything about you at all derogatory, ever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even with the Vlad, I still didn't say it. You would think at one point, be like, all right, actually, no, this guy's cool. This guy was actually looking out for me when no one else was.
Right.
He was giving me a platform when I couldn't get a play. He used to tweet me so I would make articles on his tweets.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, to go from that to Vlad on 2 songs, like, I'm not even talking about freestyles, like actual album songs.
Yeah.
It was kind of just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, and it's just kind of bizarre to see that, because it's like there's a time in your career where you're not doing so hot and you want to do interviews, you want to get blog posts, you want to get content, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're on top of the world, and so you feel like you don't need anybody. You have your pick of who you want to do interviews with. Cool, I totally get it. But now you're in a situation that is not so admirable, that I'm sure you're not so terribly happy with. But do you feel like people have kind of accused you of this, of being a little bit too gleeful, or at least not upset about discussing Durk's current predicament?
Well, but that's not about Durk saying Vlad.
That's just his behavior in general. You're kind of disappointed by some of the decisions he made?
I just felt that once I saw the story of Quando Rondo's cousin getting killed and his alleged involvement in it, I was just disgusted by it. It's not, oh, I'm so glad he's in jail, I hope he's there forever. No, I don't wish that. Like, at the end of the day, if he gets out tomorrow, that'd be fine. And in fact, if they prove that he had nothing to do with it, then I'll say, okay, well, my bad.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what the feds are alleging, and with someone who I'm cool with, I've always had a good relationship with Quando. I actually went down to Savannah, interviewed him in person. This is not our first interview. We talked about sort of just the overall situation, with Quando being the victim in this whole situation, and to have a murder occur right in front of him, where this is his actual cousin and the trauma involved in it, like that. Why do people think that's a strange reaction? I understand you like his music, and I know that clouds a lot of people's judgment. It's like, I like his music, so it's okay that he kills people associated with a rapper I don't like. But that's not really how you're supposed to be as a human being.
Right.
Like, if you really paid a group of men to go kill somebody, and in the process they killed the wrong person, that's not celebrated. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not being gleeful. I'm just saying, if he's involved in that, that's disgusting behavior. And it shouldn't be allowed in society. You shouldn't be allowed, just because you have a bunch of money and a bunch of crazy people around you that are willing to throw away their lives, to go kill people that you have a problem with. And at one point, what I said was, in these interviews was, when does Lil Durk grow up and say, King Von was my friend, was he signed to OTF? There was some sort of business, something going on.
Everybody thought that he was signed to Durk. In his passing, multiple people have reported on the fact that he basically never signed the paperwork. There was people acknowledging that maybe there was a little bit of tension between Durk and Vaughn about not signing the paperwork. People say that Durk was definitely planning, or Vaughn was planning on taking care of Durk, one way or another, like that he was going to make it make sense to him with money and everything. But word on the streets is that he never actually signed the deal to him.
So whether you signed or not, clearly this this business relationship was mutually beneficial to everyone. Durk was a big rapper, and he was kind of co-signing, Vaughn, and Vaughn was the hottest gangster rapper at the time, and Durk was feeding off of that as well. You see what I'm saying? I know they had some sort of situation where like a shooting occurred or something. I understand this is your friend, this is somebody you're doing business with, but at one point, like, the people around you, like, you have the crazy friend, and if he ends up dying doing something crazy, you go like, well, it's sad that he died, but I'm not really that surprised. Right?
I guess, like, for me and you as outsiders on this whole kind of thing, given that, when me and you have beef with the people, we don't, retaliate with violence.
No.
But it feels like there's a lot of people that I'm cool with people on both sides of a conflict. And I know that murders or violence have taken place on both sides of it. And I just kind of choose to put my hands up and say, like, listen, I'm not going to really cast judgment on you guys. I remember I had like a fairly profound moment when I went to Draco's funeral. It's like the saddest thing in the world. And I just found myself so overcome with just that feeling of like, this is the worst thing I could ever imagine, that I'm sitting in this room with all these loved ones who are crying because people hated him so much that they chose to take him out of this world. And then I had to check myself, because in large part, the reason why Draco got killed was because of his alleged involvement, or at least the fact that he was there when another guy got killed. And that really was like the thing that started this whole tit for tat that basically made people want to kill him. And I have no idea still to this day, like what Draco's actual involvement was in the passing of Red Bull at the pajama party that night.
You don't think it was over the Ingleweird song?
That all stemmed from this situation, you know?
God.
So like that basically was the original event that sort of sparked up the war between a lot of Bloods in LA and Draco and whatever. And I don't know exactly what played out at the music festival when he lost his life, etc. But I also just like, I can't really bring myself to say, you know what, look this side, I don't with them because they did something to my friend, knowing that in many ways this was a back and forth, and that disrespect was done from both sides, and violent acts were done from both sides. And you know, it's like, for me, I just kind of have to, same thing with all these BDs and GDs. It's like, you know, I can interview them and have conversations with them about stuff, but I just choose to be Switzerland and just stay out of, you know, picking a dog in the fight.
See this property on Craigslist for $4,300 a month? Well, it's been sitting empty for the last 28 days. And there's 44 million long-term rental properties sitting vacant all across America.
Yeah, I mean, look, Durk knew who Vaughn was. Vaughn clearly bragged about all the violence that he was involved with, whether he was caught or not. So you know who you're dealing with. He went and initiated a physical attack against someone who really didn't even really do anything. And in the process, he underestimated the level of violence that they were going to retaliate with.
Right.
He just thought it was going to be a fist fight. It ended up being a fist fight. But whose fault was it? Who ultimately, you know, Lil Tim walked away from it as stand your ground.
Yeah.
The legal system has told everyone that this was a justifiable self-defense situation. But Durk allegedly did not want to accept that.
Yeah.
He wanted to take it one step further and put his own freedom and the freedom of these 5 other guys involved in this insanity on the line. So, I don't know, so he could feel better about himself, that he somehow, you know, slid for Vaughn. I mean, it's just, like I said, there's no glee in it, but it's just like, let's all be adults at one point. Like, this is not behavior that society could really tolerate. You can't just sit there and put hits on people in retaliation. You know, like, you just can't do that. You can't have a society like that.
Yeah. You can't.
You cannot. You can't.
Certainly, it's
running
unsustainable.
around
Yeah.
doing this and getting away with it.
And I mean, the remnants of this kind of behavior, we see it all the time, where, yeah, FBG Duck got killed, and
That was sad.
5 O Block members went down for it. 6, I think, actually.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, Durk gets his revenge, if it happened, as they say, gets his revenge on Quando Rondo's friend. They probably wanted Quando, but they didn't get him. They got somebody else. And it's like, you know, probably 5 or 6 or however many OTF members are going to go down for that. It's just like, this
Rinse and repeat.
very
Over and
rarely
over
works
and over
out in a
again.
way
It never
that is
works out.
beneficial.
Not when
Yeah.
it comes to high profile shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can kill some homeless guy in an alley, and if there's no cameras, you might get away.
But
Jump in the comments and tell me what y'all think about Adam 22 and Vlad. Do they have too much power over the black culture and this hip-hop community? Are you one of those who believe that they're the police? Let's talk about it in the comments. Peace.
So you better get familiar, cause we're about to take it over.